And thank you, John, for coming. And helping present the Beaufort Economic Survey to us.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and take care of business. We have the minutes from December. Were there any errors, changes, anything? It pretty much was all about our discussion. There's Charlie. And now you're over on John. Now, see, you guys were trying to confuse me. Nathan, did you have anything you noticed in the minutes that need to be changed?
No, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I read through them.
Okay. You weren't? Oh, that's right, you weren't. Well, I didn't see anything egregious, nor did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay. You want to second it for me, Nathan? And all in favor?
Sure, I'll second that.
Okay,
All in
Ginny?
favor, say aye.
Okay, and I. So, okay, so we're into 2021, and you know, our goal is to try and help the town get some ideas, get some business, get some tax base that's going to help pay for some of these projects that are important to the town, such as the roads, the sidewalks, and that type of thing. Without the business as a tax base, they're just not going to have the money, the funds to do the kinds of things that we'd all like to see happen. I did notice, and Ginny, I don't know if you got your business license application, but when I got my business license application, they requested in the letter that we include our email and a daytime phone number. And Charlie and John, we have asked that the town really get a good database of emails. Without that, everything having to go out by snail mail is expensive and time consuming, and it's just not efficient in today's world. So they heeded our advice, and they are asking for emails now for all the business owners. So that might help with this survey that that you guys have been putting together for us. We also need to be looking at properties and that are available for businesses to locate. And I know at some point we did want to try and do go into executive session so that we could perhaps look at some options out there. Anyway, with that, Charlie and John, you put together a survey that asked many questions. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I know, Jenny, you were a little not quite sure about how they were doing it, and you had some questions. So if you want to go through your questions, John and Charlie, why don't you present what you're trying to achieve with this, and then we'll go into a discussion after that.
Okay. Just a little backdrop as you were speaking, Bernadette and Nathan. I'm sorry we didn't meet you at the last meeting. When back in the day, I was elected mayor of a small town in Connecticut when I was 31, and I had this idea of how we were going to make the downtown more vibrant, and so I unveiled my plans, and by the grace of God, an architect saw what I was proposing, and he intervened, and he contacted me. I remember it was like December 23rd, and said, "Can I meet with you? I have some ideas." And the bottom line is that if you share your ideas with folks and get their input, your plan is just improved by all the different good advice that you can get from residents or people, let's just say, who are looking for a tailor or something, or they may have a business in mind. So you might be able to identify needs. So we met with you all probably in December. I think we thought we'd have this further along, and I apologize for anything I did to delay this. But you know, we and oddly enough, this is I've seen Charlie's emails to me today, and he's looked at wetland surveys and cultural surveys today. We were also doing one regarding Beaufort County businesses' needs to for trucking companies, and so there's all sorts of surveys we can put out there in different sectors, and we think it's a good idea. On the last call we were on regarding the trucking survey, it struck me that there's no perfect survey, and so to put out one survey might just lead you to ask more questions. So I just caution you that we are trying to get like a baseline survey of Port Royal businesses. So this is what we constructed, and we have no pride of ownership, so we can change it. We've also solicited the input of the Beaufort, Greater Beaufort or Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce, which covers north of the Broad. So we can get a lot of good input from your business licensees, from our business list, and also Ian Scott's and the regional chambers list. So with that, we just try to quantify where people are in their own business cycle. So we kind of have some buckets. So you want to kind of be able to at some point segment some of the information you get back and be able to analyze it. Just trying to understand if they are a franchise, whether they're headquartered in Port Royal, elsewhere in Beaufort County, South Carolina, US, or even globally. Then we just go, what type of business industry does your business represent? And then other will allow them to type in what other category. But if you'd like more categories there, it doesn't cost us anything to list more. It doesn't cost us anything to change any of the questions either. We try to just quantify how many people they're employing, because ultimately some of the trends will tell you this is being experienced from businesses from 1 to 5, 5 to 10, greater than 50, whatever the case might be. You know, it's kind of interesting, and it just in this, I clipped it right off of a survey, but you know, trying to get people's confidence for Port Royal. We were on a phone call just in the last few days, in the last week. You know, we find a lot of people are very confident about the upside on Port Royal, and as we discussed in December, the cross or the opposite is to try to maintain the scale that makes Port Royal unique. So that'll be your challenge going forward. But we're trying to get people's confidence in the overall economy. That question may be too broad. It may be national. And if you wanted to boil it down to state and regional, we can just add a question. Because for somebody to answer that question, it doesn't take a lot of time. How would you rate your present business situation? And again, we give them kind of standard ways of looking at it. So 2 kind of above the bar and 2 below, and 1 kind of sort of average. How did your business perform in the last 6 months? How do you, then we're going to get a short-term view of how they expect their business to perform, and 12 months. At this point in time, people are telling you a little bit more about their business, and hopefully we're getting them to the point where they've answered all these questions and they're going to start to tell us what Port Royal can do to be more supportive of their business. So do you expect to expand in the next 3 years? This would be a critical question, because this can identify your leads. It's probably safe to say that whoever's going to invest in Port Royal, a significant percentage, probably 75% of your new investment will come from somebody who's already experienced Port Royal. And then how can Port Royal help you with your business? And we offer a few, and then again at the end, a few options, whether it's promotional events, cooperative advertising, and then people can put their own thoughts in here. You know, it might be sidewalks on 11th Street, or, you know, whatever, update brick sidewalks on 11th Street, or whatever the heck people want to put. We give them the opportunity to be creative there. And then what new businesses would you like to see? So we gave a pretty good list. It probably could, probably just with the 3 members we have on today's call, we probably could add some more to get people thinking. The more we can kind of seed this area. And what we're looking for here is 1 through 5. So if somebody wanted to, I don't know, say a spa, then they could put other and put spa as number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we didn't want everyone to check off every box. So if we get enough feedback, the data should kind of separate itself in terms of what people are looking to see more of. Do you know anyone who owns a business and is interested in opening a location in Port Royal? Now you're using your existing businesses to help you identify leads. If they answer yes to that, they probably would give you their information. And this is probably the best that could come out of any survey, is somebody saying, you know, please get in touch with me. I would like to have a lengthier discussion about my concerns. And then we just have an open-ended question of what people think could be done to improve Port Royal as a business location. So this isn't perfect, and we take no pride in owning the condition it's in right now. And however you edit, we'll help you execute it.
John, I do have a quick question. How successful has it been in these surveys in getting people to respond? Because I know, you know, I'm also involved in the comprehensive plan, and we got very little feedback, and we're going to reach back out to try and get more feedback, because when you have a handful of people respond and it's affecting, you know, a whole community, it's really tough to try and see what people need, want, or looking for, you know, what, that type of thing. And a lot of the questions in this survey are also coming up in the comprehensive plan, in how do we expand, how do we expand, take care of the environment, make it a user-friendly area, what types of things are going to help us, and that type of thing.
Well, I guess you put it out with as many partners as you can. So I think would be a great partner, and then just with the list and protecting people's privacy through your business licensee list. Hopefully, you'll get a fair amount of emails with some of the licenses. We may even have some of their emails. But what we have seen, and I you know, you all may have more experience in surveying than I do. But we used to believe that a survey like this, if you got 5%, you were doing pretty well. We have been, and we have done numerous surveys throughout the COVID period. And, you know, we've been anywhere from 10 to 25%. So we've been getting pretty good feedback on it, but you're not going to send out 700 and get 700 back.
No.
But we think we've gotten pretty good substantial feedback. And again, we have partnered with chambers of commerce, and we're a relatively new organization, so we have a list of countywide of about better than 700. Charlie, is that fair to say? But we try not to waste people's time. We try not to bury them with a survey every week. So when we have sent them out, we've gotten very good response. I think statistically, we're above the norm.
Good. Okay. Because That's critical. Surveys are no good if they don't get responses. Jenny, you have
Right.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. First of all, is this not an online survey where they can just go in and check the boxes on a website or something? Or is this
Correct.
some sort of paper document?
So this is just a draft, but whenever we send it out, we would have it in a electronic format where you could fill in the bubble and check the boxes as you're saying. So we would likely send it out through SurveyMonkey.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So there'll be back on those questions where it says how many employees, then there'll be a checkbox for full-time employees, 1 to 5, 5 to 10, or whatever you want to put in there, right?
Yeah, you'd have boxes similar to these images, but yeah, and what we would do with if we got a green light to go ahead with it, we'd actually put it online, and your members would fill out probably the first, Port Royal staff might fill out the first 5 surveys just to run through it and make sure you didn't encounter any bumps and that the questions read properly, because there are times where it's unclear, say rank them 1 to 5, but you'll go, somebody will go through it and go, I don't know if 5's the best or 1's the best. So sometimes it's good to have some of your members go through it and experience it and just anticipate any kind of confusion, because the worst is if you get a mixed bag back and then you realize the question wasn't really worded right. So you'll actually see it online and give us a green light before we run it live.
Okay, now I have a couple of other questions too. One is, it seems to me this should be divided up into sections, because the first 4 or 5 questions or more are kind of like generic, anybody could answer that for any business. What I was hoping we would get was more information about specifically how the town can help the existing businesses. So I would like to see a section that's kind of like specific to the town of Port Royal, so that's very obvious that what we're looking at are things that the town itself can do, because that's what I'm hoping to get out of this, is what are the roadblocks, or what are the frustrations, or what are the good things that the town is doing, such as, the fact that we have so many street fairs in normal times. Is that considered a benefit? Maybe not, I don't know. So I would like to see a section that's specifically about things that the town can do. And that one, the question you got highlighted there is part of that. But I also wanted to focus also on things that the town could do, such as, can you make your business application online, business license application online, or how can I make it easier for somebody to understand the codes if they're wanting to do changes to their building, so they don't have to wade through the whole ordinance section or whatever. Those kinds of things that,
those would be great questions, and because quite honestly, we spend a fair amount of time just learning who they are. We spend a fair amount of time learning what their view of the economy is. And we're not asking them enough questions to get, we really only have 2 questions and 1 open-ended questions. So to your point, can you take a crack at writing those questions? And I think if we had 2 or 3 Port Royal specific questions, this isn't too long at this point. We could do that.
Now, the question that you're highlighting here also seemed to me like that was more a question that you would ask residents, not businesses. If I'm a business owner, I'm not going to say, hey, I want more, as I am a short-term renter, although I am not doing that anymore. I don't want more short-term renters in this town to be competitive, as an example, right? Or if I'm a coffee shop owner, do I want more coffee shops? No, I don't want more coffee shops.
I think the intent of that is that different businesses complement each other. And, if we have a walking area that has a coffee shop and a winery and that type of thing. And, now they need another little restaurant or something. And I think some businesses do complement other businesses, and business owners need businesses to go to, it would be nice if there was a little, I don't know, some kind of store close by for whatever I need to run and grab. That's the way I read that question.
Okay,
I,
I read
I
it differently.
yeah, I can no, I could see what is it, the corner perk not checking off coffee shops. I could see Parker's not checking off coffee shops. But for some of the people who are looking at this, there's something they think that should be that down there that might be a compliment. So having the list, probably the greatest benefit we'll get is from people checking off other and giving us some great ideas.
Well, maybe what the question should say would be, what other types of businesses would complement your business and therefore bring traffic to your business, or something like that, as opposed to just what new businesses would you like to see? What businesses could complement your business?
Okay.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
we'll make a note of that. But if this isn't this isn't complicated. So if you have a question and wanted it worded a certain way, just mark it up and we'll get it worded that way.
Okay, I'll include all those kinds of things in my compilation of what I would like to see asked.
Good. I think we can be fairly accommodating as long as you're not asking for somebody to come over and clean your house.
I already have that taken care of.
No, yeah, I think we can accommodate, each of your board members' kind of interest. And I don't think it's a long survey right now. I think somebody could get through it inside of 5 minutes, which ensures a greater likelihood they'll complete it.
Yeah, the longer a survey is, the less likely people will complete it.
Yeah.
Right.
And for your purposes, on the off chance they don't complete it, we'll move the Port Royal specific section up above the general economy question. So, and I think we will break it down into 3 buckets if you're okay with that. About your business, Port Royal's business environment, and then the economy.
Okay.
Jenny, can you put together a list of questions that you want? I can, and
if you guys can work through them at your end and then just kind of come to a consensus and we'll blend them in.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll focus on Port Royal specific questions.
Good.
Yeah, because your general questions look like they covered all the bases that we can give us information to work with. What about has the Beaufort Economic Development Corporation, have you done, I'm sure you have, a land survey of what's out there, and because there's some pretty specific places that I've noticed that really do need redevelopment. Along Paris Island Gateway, up Rebo Road, there's some plazas that are less than attractive.
I would say this, that kind of real estate's always in flux, so something's always changing. But it would probably, what we have learned, because we've done it for the workforce housing folks, and we've also tried to do it for the county, looking at sites for growth and redevelopment throughout the county, that it makes more sense to just ask your planner to go through and I would say in your case, 5 to 7 sites that would be ideal for redevelopment. They don't have to be town controlled, but your organization and our organization, if let's just say one of the sites is on Paris Island Gateway or something, and we just identify 5 to 7 sites that would be priorities for redevelopment. then we can look at either working with the current property owner or finding out if the current property owner would be interested in selling that property if we could interest an investor. So,
Yeah.
but I would say instead of trying to take a swath at the whole town, probably would be in your focus area, identify 5 to 7 parcels that if something happened, they'd be probably a nice catalyst to the whole area.
Okay.
And the port should be on that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sitting there. Nathan, I see you popping up. Nathan?
Yeah, yeah, I just had a question about something that was said a little bit earlier. One of the questions I heard was a referral. Do you have anybody that that is thinking about coming to Port Royal? Do you ever see any communities offer an incentive, like a one-time tax-based incentive for providing a referral for a business that comes and moves? Or I'm not sure if the tax rule works like that, but
I have no knowledge of anyone doing that. I think probably what you want to do is precipitate the new investment, but in this area, we get actually, we've done 31 projects to date, and all of them have come from somebody who either knows somebody in the county or has been in the county. So, we do rely heavily on those referrals, but most people give them to us freely without looking for compensation.
And Nathan.
okay. Yeah.
Nathan. Hey, I'll just say, hey, first off, I apologize for being late. I had a conference call run a little over, but I know that as far as incentives, like state level, they do things like that with, major corporations like Boeing, and they offer different kind of tax incentives for them. I don't believe that under state law that municipalities can do that. Like if they can waive property tax or anything, I don't think municipalities can. The county, I believe the county has some ability to do some tax incentives there, but I don't, like I said, I'm not 100% on that, but I don't believe that a municipality can, for instance, waive property taxes or waive business license, which is really the only taxes we kind of put on, unless they're in hospitality and then they get an A tax or an H tax added to them. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I appreciate you explaining that, Kevin.
Our corporation does provide some incentives, or occasionally we'll come across an obstacle, whether it's impact fees or anything like that. They have to be paid. And, we're taking one project to our board this week where we'll try to participate on those fees. There was an impact fee for a Port Royal business that we kind of got involved in to help them, not to any significant level. And then, Kevin, we owe you guys an apology on FILOs and MCIPs and different things that we do. When people are manufacturers, they're hit with like a 10% property tax rate, and we work through the county on FILOs to lower that tax rate to 6%. So we haven't communicated that well, but if there are any state or even county programs, we'll try to walk your prospect companies through whatever would be available.
Yeah, but like you said, but all those are done, like you said. I mean, the smallest level is at the county level.
Yes.
And generally that's for the incoming company, not for the company that refers the incoming company.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But and with that said, we do try to take care of companies that are already here with any kind of challenges they're having as well. Stoneworks, which was out on Hilton Head, had to move as the Hilton Head Airport expanded. We kind of made it. They paid their taxes for 20-25 years, so we helped them get to a great business location in Port Royal.
All right.
Okay. So at this point, we've got this outline survey. Jenny, you want to do some additions, maybe a little tweaking. Once we get it tweaked to where we have it, what do we need to do with you guys other than, approve it being done and then going forward?
We'll have to interface with your technology people to get the survey out to your licensees. So
Okay,
figure out who locally has that kind of list in an Excel format, and any kind of agreement we have to sign in terms of privacy, private use and not reuse of that list. We'll be happy to sign that. And then we'll also work with the regional chamber to get broad distribution and awareness of the survey. And we can usually turn it around in 2 weeks after each of you go through the survey and don't detect any trouble in completing it.
okay, okay.
And then we'll share all the analytical reports with you. We'll give you a hot link to it, so you can go in there and manipulate not change the answers, but manipulate it for whatever reporting purposes you would like to use it.
Okay, okay. All right.
Did
I think a lot.
Did I hear you say that you were going to go to the Chamber of Commerce? Which Chamber of Commerce are you talking about?
Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce, and if you would like, also the Black Chamber of Commerce. They haven't been that active on most of our surveys, but we always extend the ability to distribute it through their membership as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So at this point, it's a matter of us tweaking the questions. Jenny, you want to, if you can take on, you had specific ideas that you'd like to see.
Yep.
And
I'll
then
take care of that.
we
I'll
can
get
get
it
that
to
to, we all have your email. So if you want to just send it on to John, if you want to CC everybody and we can all look at it and tweak it from there. Does that work with you, John? And
Yeah,
John?
I would just say, we'd hate to just get Jenny. Do you go by Jenny versus Virginia? But we'll get Jenny's feedback and then we start working on it and then the other members weigh in. So
Yeah.
it'd be better at your end if you all reach consensus on the questions, and we'll be happy to upload it.
Okay.
I don't see any circumstance where we won't use your material the way you present it.
That makes a lot of sense. So Jenny, if you would, put some of your ideas together, and Nathan, if you come up with anything else, Kevin, you too. I mean, if you think things that we're missing, please let us know. And hopefully we can get Roger and Joe to contribute as well, and then get something back to you within a reasonably short amount of time. It would be nice to try and get this thing going. There's a lot happening, a lot needs to happen. I know the town is working hard on trying to, figure out how we're going forward for the next 10 years and how to deal with some of the limitations we're experiencing as a result of COVID and how business has changed, and try and build on something to help people have a livelihood and help our small businesses. But we need them all. We need all the different size businesses, and they all need to be viable, and we need to have them work within the town in a way that doesn't take away what we would want to see represented here in the cool coastal, far from ordinary atmosphere. So
and what you just said there, Bernadette, you may want to start crafting kind of your introduction, kind of a invitation for people to partake in the survey, so that we can have kind of the chairman's message in the email. That would be good.
Okay.
And then in the end, what hopefully you'll have is because when it comes to redevelopment, a lot of times people speak of anecdotally what they would like to see. So if we do this survey, you're going to have some data that'll be like real bullets in your holster that you could fire, and you're speaking with some level of authority. And even if we do this first round of the survey and you just feel it didn't go deep enough, we can take another crack at the same folks to just say, and actually a lot of the folks that actively participated or ended up giving us their names and addresses, and follow up and
Right.
build this out so that when you're before town council and saying we need to do this, you're speaking from authority and you have some data to support why you're recommending that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yeah, and I've been trying to put some thoughts on paper as to how we address what we need here in the town. And I know it's critical for the town going forward that, you know, we have the basis to do some of these great plans that I've seen on paper, the traffic study and some of the design work they came up with, you know, and getting the Spanish Moss Trail across Rebo Road, all those things that are going to take money, the building down next to for the shrimp processing that the design has come up. It's all going to take money, and residential houses do not produce the kind of tax revenue that the town needs to do these projects. So anyway, okay, so I believe we have our marching orders, and that if we can get this all together and out to you. One quick thing, it was pointed out to me the last time, I can't see Facebook here. So I don't know if there were any questions on Facebook, as there had been the last time, that got missed.
There was one. Sarah Nutter commented, I just started watching, but I would like to know if, along with the growth and development of Port Royal, are you looking into land preservation? This town is beautiful, and I would hate to see it bulldoze, leaving the wildlife left out of consideration.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And I do know that to answer her question, one of the things that the comprehensive plan is looking at is conservation and working in harmony with the environment, you know, floodplains, that type of thing. That's all coming up in the comprehensive plan, and those items will be addressed with that. I mean, there's a whole lot of puzzles getting put together right now, and hopefully we'll have some good answers soon. So, okay, Nathan, do you have anything to add? Kevin, do you have anything?
I do not know.
Okay.
I'll just say,
you might.
I was just going to say, if Sarah Nutter's still listening, just absolutely that thought's always in our, you know, forefront. Well, you know, our natural resources, I think, is probably one of our most important resources. So we're always considering that. And, you know, any of the development that I think we're talking about here is more like we're saying redevelopment, and, you know, using buildings that are already
Yes.
Around this talk. This isn't really about any kind of new major developments coming. So yeah, just to kind of reiterate that to Sarah, that yeah, that's always important to us, and at the front of our minds. So.
And if I could just put a word in for the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation. Charlie and I love living and working here. And as you recall from our comments in December, balance and scale and honoring the environment are always number one in our presentations, because yes, we like creating prosperity and opportunity for people to provide for their family, but we do have a lot of folks moving here from Charleston who feel like the charm that attracted them 30 years ago doesn't exist anymore. And so as we're going to feel pressure to grow, it's important we do it with balance and scale.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you on that one. Nathan, I think I interrupted you. Did you have something more to add?
No, I just thought that was an interesting point. I wonder if anybody's ever tried to reach out for that property on, I guess it'd be 14th, between 14th and 13th, that you and I were talking about today, that's part of the duck line. I wonder if anybody from the town has purchased that property.
Well, that's something that can probably needs to be discussed at a different time, but Yeah, that's privately held property, and yeah, we can have a conversation about existing properties, as I said, at a different time. And go.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'd like to get a list of properties as well that need redevelopment. As I said, I can think of 2, 3 of them right off the top of my head. And John and Charlie, you probably already know which ones I'm thinking about. So, okay. Sean, that was it from the Facebook questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and we'll get working on what we need to do and get it to you, and then, get a consensus back to you as to what we want to see added to it and get this ball rolling down the hill as fast as we can.
Thanks for including us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I'm aggressive sometimes, I know.
No, I didn't sense that at all.
All right. Well, our next meeting will be, I believe, I forget which day it is in February, but the 3rd Tuesday in February, same time, probably at the same location.
Can I request that we maybe move it either up or back a week or do something? Because I have a conflict on that day. And I wanted to see if we maybe could change the dates one way or another.
Okay, I'll send out an email and see, how that will work out, and we'll figure out if we can do that or not.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll work on that, and as I said, an email will go out. Okay. Anybody else have anything more to add? Okay.
Do you want me to move that we adjourn?
I sure do.
I move that we adjourn.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming and attending and participating, and I'll talk to you all soon.
Okay.